All systems are green. Dark Gaia activation is confirmed on all 7 continents. Electromagnetic homing signals are locked on. All units converging on point 0.
Yes, perfect! Gathering Dark Gaia's pieces is such a pain. I'll have them come to me instead! A brilliant shift in perspective. An idea worthy of Dr. Eggman. Super genius!
Your skill at self-aggrandizement is unparalleled.
Silence! Activate the Dark Gaia fusion furnace. And while you're at it, get those energy conversion circuits warmed up.
Understood. Commencing Project Dark Gaia. Requesting final clearance.
Granted. Ha! Finally, my ambitions will be achieved.
Right as this level starts, two things are very much required: drifting and not boosting yet. Gotta drift around these curves, but do not boost on these curves or you will go flying into the air. However, on this upcoming slope, I need you to boost. I need you to boost real hard, because otherwise you won't make it to this upper pathway, and if you don't make it to this upper pathway, you'll have to run on this street. At which point you may as well start the level over, because this upper pathway takes us through this big building, when otherwise we would have to go around it, and going around the building would have cost us 10 to 30 seconds, which is not acceptable. This next ramp will take us above a bunch of enemies, and it's really easy to get to because we can just light dash through the rings to get there. And this second ramp is even more important. We could have ignored the other ramp and still gone through the enemies just fine, but this ramp saves us way too much time to ignore. We just have to follow the groove of the road here. Don't let the spike balls freak you out. As long as you work with the road instead of against it, you'll be fine. This boost pad is far from mandatory, but it does help. It gets us to the end of the section slightly faster, like a couple seconds faster. Now it's time for the 2D section of the level, and after we're out of this spiral, we can do 3 consecutive boosts without having to worry. We'll just plow right through the enemies. After the third boost, though, we'll have to jump. I said jump. And after that fairly straightforward platforming, we run into 2 chains of enemies. One is at the end of this rail. The thing about this chain is that after you finish the chain, you have to boost. Otherwise, we'll miss this rainbow ring, and that rainbow ring is important. I intentionally avoid wall jumping here and take the lower path, because the lower path takes us in a direction that will waste at least 10 seconds of our time, and that's not acceptable. So whatever you do, do not take the wall jumping path. The path we're on right now is by far the quickest way out of the 2-dimensional section. And then there's a long stretch of 3D section that seems fairly straightforward, but don't let that fool you. We want to stop and slowly move over to the right to hit this bounce pad. Running on the wall like this takes us around a bunch of hazards which would otherwise slow us down completely. And as soon as we land, we want to take the left pathway so we can get the second biggest shortcut in the level. Do a couple of QuickTime events and slide right through the center here, and we'll get around a bunch of really annoying drifting across quicksand. This secret pathway will take us straight to the exit.
No problem. Here we go!
It's the good old collect the rings mission, and this time you're going to see that optional pathway that I said would waste a lot of our time. Right up here, we're going to actually wall jump this time instead of take the lower path, because the upper path will get us more rings, which is the only thing it's good for, really. That might actually be what the upper path was intended for, was for this specific submission, so that way the player could get more rings easily. But that doesn't come across properly. Anyway, here it is. It is worth noting that up here, if we jump and take that upper rail, we won't waste as much time. But if we miss that rail, we take a big punishment for it. There are a couple more chances to get back up on the middle path, but they're easy to miss. So honestly, you should just fall down when you reach the wall jumping segment, because that guarantees you the quickest way out of the level. But if you wall jump, you get a couple of chances to make it to a better path, and if you don't, you do this shit. And even if you manage to save yourself after you take the wall jumping path, it'll still take longer.
No problem. Here we go!
It's time for another mission where we are tasked with not breaking shit. This time it's jars. It's usually jars of some form. I mean, I guess that's fine. I guess there's nothing wrong with these missions. But they don't really add anything to the game, and they wouldn't have to be here if you just made the player S-rank the day stages. Just make him do it. Sure, it might have taken me 40 minutes to S-rank this last day stage, but it was a good 40 minutes. That stage kicks ass. And it's not like you're choosing between extreme difficulty and mild difficulty. It's either you choose extreme difficulty or no difficulty at all, you know? So just make me do it. Make me S-rank the levels. And don't tell me this shit's for kids, alright? I've played old Nintendo Entertainment System and Super Nintendo games. Kids can handle way worse than this, alright? Those games were fucking hard. They were fucking mean, too. This game isn't mean.
Here we go!
I bet you thought we were done, but no, for some reason there's another Collect the Rings mission. And this one's even easier. But after this, we're done. And we can move on. Those Werehog sections aren't gonna play themselves.